get it, Ginger.
Thanks, George. It is spring break, so many folks are road tripping, and I recently took an eco road trip in an electric vehicle in a new series. It's called Branching Out. We did it with Nat Geo. You can see it starting today. We were fixing forests, we were cleaning up the oceans, and it was the whole fam. You can join Ben, the boys, and me as we all learn how we can be part of the solution to preserving our environment. The May issue of National Geographic magazine, which reports on the future of forests, is live now on natgeo.com. You can catch our show on Nat Geo and localish platforms and on my social. Let's get a check now a little closer to home.
Now we are kicking off our week-long series, Charged Up, because gas prices are still way up. So many drivers are looking to electric vehicles as an alternative. Cars.com says searches for so-called EVs went up nearly 200% earlier this spring. So this week, Ginger is going on another epic adventure across the U.S. to see what going electric is all about. Hey, Ginger.
Hey there, Michael. So when my family and I got an EV for us, our family and friends and everybody had the same questions. They were like, where are you going to charge? Well, we charge in our garage. And then the second question was, well, what if you had to take a road trip? Now that is a great question. And this time of year, so many of you might be planning a summer road trip or taking a spring break one right now. So we wanted to show you what it would look like if you were to go electric. We want you to come along with us. It's all week. We're going to share the challenges, because they are challenges in some ways, and benefits of doing a road trip in an EV. So I'm going to leave right now, like right when I'm done talking to you, Michael.
I said, oh, now I can ask you a question.
I'm going to go to Detroit, and then we're going to go, because, you know, I grew up in Michigan. So many people take a trip to South Florida. We're going to make a couple of stops between, but we'll end up on those beautiful beaches of Miami.
Well, if you're going to leave here in this weather, you might as well go to Miami, where it should be warm,
right.
We hope. But time-wise, what is the difference between charging an electric vehicle and actually just filling up the gas-powered car?
Well, that's going to be one of our biggest challenges, because it's going to take at least 3 to 4 times as long than it would to fill up with gas. And so that's usually one of the big inhibitors for people. But we won't be using any gas. So look at these bottles. Okay. That's water, obviously. But if it were gas, it represents our one-way use in gallons. Guess how many?
Well, I did the math a little bit earlier.
Did you? He's been looking at this like a party trick all day.
Yeah.
65 gallons, and that's just one way.
That's just one way.
One way. So this is what we're going to be saving in gas, and you know that means savings.
65 gallons of gas. That's a lot of savings right there. But okay, when you're traveling, how hard is it to find these stations to charge your car?
Well, it can be difficult unless you plan, right? And so you have to do the planning ahead of time. It's very much better for the environment. Transportation, one of our biggest emitters when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions. So you're not only saving you, but you're saving the environment. Look at this. For our charging, this one-way trip, $120 is what we anticipate to spend. If we were to do it in gas, $256.
And that's if you're light on the pedal.
Yeah.
The gas pedal, that is.
And I got to tell you, so that's not where the savings end, right?
Okay.
If you have a vehicle, an EV, you don't have oil changes. The maintenance costs are way lower. So over the lifetime of the car, plus the tax incentives, there are huge savings. $2,500 is the minimum. It's up to $7,500, depending on where you live.
I'm feeling, I need to get an electric car right now. You're making me feel that way. But you have one.
Yeah.
You're just saying your family got an electric vevehicle.
Yeah.
And so you're taking a road trip this week in an electric vehicle, of course. But are you taking yours?
No. We're not going to take our EV. We actually rented one, which is possible now.
Okay.
On our last one, the one with the family, we rented a different make and model. So you can check out different EVs without too much, you know, against you and your family, like before you go and just jump in and buy one.
So I like that. You can rent one, test it out. This is a nice one that you rented. You're going right now.
Yes, we're leaving right now.
I didn't want you to leave without some snacks.
Thank you.
This is heavy.
It is really heavy.
Crew right here.
Well, I can't do all the driving myself, so you know, my buddies, they've been in the car a lot with me, storm chasing and just across the world, really. Samantha, Chris, we can't wait.
All right, I put your favorite in. I got some corn nuts. Yes. They don't smell too good in this closed car, so open up the windows when you're on the road and you're going to eat some of those.
I'm also not traveling in heels, by the way.
It's okay. You got to put on your.
I got my shell toes on. But I have to tell you, listen, you had a lot of questions about the batteries, the recycling. We're going to answer all of those this week. We're going to get into all the myths.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. The batteries, the recycling of the batteries, all these different technologies, and the way that this is definitely the future. And we're going to cover that over the week.
You could take my heels.
I'm going to take these back into the studio for you.
I know we've got music on our road trip, which you can find, but...
And we got music coming up because Grammy winner P.J. Morton joins us live with a special performance. And Ginger, what are you sitting here with me for? Get in the car,
I'll really take those. You don't...
Great to see you. I'm going to take your shoes. I got them.
All right.
The country in an electric car to help us all learn about all the benefits and the challenges of going electric. Since we saw Ginger yesterday, she's driven from Detroit to Chattanooga, Tennessee, home of the Volkswagen plant. Hey, Ginger.
Hey there, George. We traveled more than 600 miles yesterday alone. Now, that took 4 charges. Average charge time, 30 minutes. Average price, $10. So we spent less than 40, and in a gas counterpart, it would have been more than 70. So the savings has begun, and all of that driving brought us here to Tennessee, where they have invested big time in the electric vehicle. They're almost a hub. They've added more than 10,000 jobs just from EVs in the last 5 years. So Volkswagen is part of that, and we are right inside here. We're about to show you their ID4, and this vehicle is a family vehicle, a crossover SUV. You can see all the folks that are back there. They're kind of putting the finishing touches on in the light tunnel, making sure that there's no defect, that there are no scratches. And then they think that it is a good idea to allow me to get inside their vehicles and give them a test track ride on the rattle track. I mean, they said they wanted me to. So until then, how about we get some truths and myths behind the EV?
For some, EVs are about the entertainment. For others, they seem too futuristic and unrealistic.
I just don't think the tech is there yet for EVs. Maybe soon, but not now.
As our electric vehicle trip rolls on, the questions from our viewers have been rolling in.
What's happened is gas prices are high and they're staying high. Now, the new version is something electric.
We brought in the experts to help find some answers. Marilyn Switzer on Facebook says charging stations are non-existent in rural areas.
We have found that Tesla still is beating everyone else. Tesla has already announced that the supercharger stations are going to be available to non-Tesla vehicles.
The charging infrastructure is certainly not everywhere yet. There are more than 46,000 EV charging stations across the country, compared to more than 150,000 gas stations, and they become harder to find in the middle of the country. But that's changing. Apps like PlugShare, ChargePoint, Blink, and others make finding the closest charging station easier on a road trip. Still, drivers worry about what happens if you need a charge and you aren't near a charging station.
It's one of the reasons we tell people an EV is a great second car. There are companies out there that are working on ways to give you a charge out remotely, whether it's a van with a generator on it or big battery packs. The best thing you can do is just be aware of your range.
With vehicle ranges averaging 250 miles on a full charge, running out of power shouldn't be a major concern for most people. More than half of households drive less than 50 miles a day, which is just 20% of the average EV range. Another myth we're seeing, all EVs are expensive. One person saying, what good are they if we can't buy them?
It ends up being a pretty affordable vehicle in the used market, and drive it for many years if you've got a short distance to drive on a daily basis.
EVs typically run about $10,000 more than their gas-reliant counterparts. Cars like the Nissan Leaf, though, start at just over $25,000, and that could get you into the market.
All right, so you ready to take this rattle test track with me? I am inside this ID4. It is all electric, and we're about to feel the bumps as if you are on a road. They do this to make sure that there is no shaking within the car that isn't supposed to be happening. I feel a lot like some of the roads we were on in Michigan, my home state, to be honest. But now I've hit the pothole part, so anybody that lives in a city knows what that feels like, and they want to make sure that their ID4 is going to roll through. And now the potholes, it's spring, so you better be testing. Woo! I think it did well. I have to say that this ID4, they're marketing it as a family vehicle. It is spacious, like many of these newer crossover SUVs for the EV market. They are starting their price point in the low 40,000s. That's before the tax incentives. I've made it to the cobblestone. And they're also, this is what makes it really fascinating, they are offering 3 years of free charging
unlimited with Electrify America, which is part of, that'll really get the incentive rolling. I have to tell you, all of these vehicles are so smart and so beautiful, George. It's hard to, so far I feel like I'm testing all of them, and I'm like, yeah, I want this one. No one wants this one. It's exciting to see the changes.
It certainly is. Well, I hope the next leg of your trip is a little more smooth than what you've just been on. Ginger, thanks very much. Ginger's going to continue her trip south to Georgia. So you can follow the adventure with her.
Let's go to Ginger. Hey, Ginger.
And Michael, you got to see these pictures out of Kansas. Gusts up to 100 miles per hour. The Texas Panhandle had it. The dust covering, the visibility to near zero. There were more than 400 severe storm reports. In front of that, all-time December heat. And today, severe storms in Arkansas, West Tennessee. Your local weather in 30 seconds. First, the rainy cities, sponsored by Dick's Sporting Goods.
Winter Wonderland.
Pancakes. Roasted turkey melts more pancakes. A frozen hot chocolate, lots of milkshake. Did we mention cranberry vanilla pancakes? But hurry in, 'cause it's only for a short time.
IHOP.
So what do you get when you have all-time December heat? Then you put some dry conditions and some gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour. Fires, many brush fires all across the plains. This one, Kansas City, Missouri, back through Kansas, Nebraska. We saw them all over the place yesterday. And that all-time December record heat. This is not just a daily record, but never in recorded history seen in the month of December. From Missouri right through Quincy, Illinois. You saw some of those numbers in the 60s and 70s. Des Moines hit 74. Today, Grand Rapids hit 62 just after midnight. Fallen from there because, of course, it doesn't last. But look at all the warmth. Washington should be in the mid-60s. Coming up here, the first woman set to lead the nation's
Powerful winds, more than 20 tornadoes. Ginger's tracking the latest. Good morning, Ginger.
Can I show you a picture that just blew my mind this morning? You see in the foreground here, snow. This is in Wisconsin. You see behind there, damage from what could be either straight line winds or a tornado. Those two things do not go together. This is not something that we see, certainly in the month of December. More than 500,000 folks are without power across the Midwest and parts of the plains. The winds were gusting in some spots more than 100 miles per hour in Kansas. And then in Heartland, Minnesota, what could be Minnesota, the whole state's first December tornado in recorded history. So the damage there, they'll do that survey and figure that out. In parts of Colorado, you had gusts above 107 miles per hour. So dust was blowing all throughout. Visibility was reduced. And now we're going to see that same front slide to the south and east. Ahead of it, record highs again. All-time December record heat was blown away in parts of the Great Lakes. And check that out. Arkansas has a chance for severe storms. The hardest hit folks in western Kentucky have heavy rain, but a lot of it looks to stay just north and west. Still something. I won't forget that image.
It seems like we're seeing so many things that we've never seen before when it comes to weather.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Ginger. Coming up, the widow of former NFL star Vincent.
Thank you, Michael. And now we have to watch the storms blast over the foothills north of Denver. This is Arvada, Colorado. You can see it there in the time lapse, overtaking the houses. And then in Boulder, they had gusts up to 93 miles per hour in that area. So yes, they were very windy. And there's the storm. You can see that comma as it heads into Canada. You'll still have the trailing cold front, and with it, some potential for damaging winds even. Gusts could go 40 to 60 miles per hour, some of them up to 70. Let's go ahead and get a check now, a little closer to home.
It's going to be mild and very windy today. We already have temperatures in the 50s across most of the area. 50.
No surprise that 2021 has been a pretty tough year. It's also revealed reservoirs of strength all across America. And we celebrated that resilience and beauty in all 50 states with our Rise and Shine series. Here are some of the highlights of the journey.
Rise and shine, looking good. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Now it's time to rise and shine, traveling around the country.
Rise and shine
From Connecticut,
Michigan,
Tennessee, Washington, Alaska.
Rise and shine, Colorado.
It feels good when we're together.
The small businesses bouncing back.
When we belong.
We can weather this storm and weather anything that the world throws at us.
If you come together as a community, and you'll get through the hardest times.
I'm really torn, George. Buffaloes or eagle? Found it.
Robin, I mean, are you ready? Best doubles team ever. Good morning, America.
That's not for me. Now, once a giant, always a giant, my friend.
So you give it a puss, and a shimmy. Bye, GMA. I'm making fudge now.
I feel very excited.
Yeah, see?
Ready for my waitress job? Julie Roberts, move over.
Oh, that's the secret.
That's it.
How do you eat this sandwich? There's a special stance you have to do.
Yes,
Right?
you put your feet back, forearms, grab this sandwich like this, and then you put your face into it.
All right, it was good.
We got a little saying here that when you bite this, it's going to return the favor.
We're going to have some of these for you guys in the studio.
You know we can handle this.
Check it out.
My amigo Whit over here is in full.
Yeah.